fighting. I think I'm more passionate about fighting now than ever.
What a performance by Max Holloway.
This fight with Calvin, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be fireworks. Fans will be in for a treat, you know. We get to open the new year with a bang.
Oh, elbow. Calvin Kattar landed a Boston bomb tonight.
There's not many guys in there that can match my boxing. You're going to feel the power, you're going to feel the range, you're going to feel the accuracy.
The technique is just so crisp. It's so perfect.
I believed in my heart and soul. I was put on this earth, not to only fight, to strike. So, if he believes he's one of the best strikers in the world, come fight now, we see, baby. We see.
Man, Max is relentless. Max is a volume guy. When I step in there, I put guys away. And Max will be no different.
Calvin Kattar stops Ricardo Lewis in his tracks.
I'm next in line for the champ. There's only one man standing in my way, and that's Max.
I am not just another man in the way. I am the man, so come get it. I can't wait.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
What's up, guys? This is going to be the full card breakdown for UFC Fight Night, Holloway versus Kattar. It's coming up tomorrow, 12 noon start time for the early prelims. Main card starts at 3 in the afternoon. I do have a bit of a cold, so you'll have to bear with me on this one. I'm going to get straight into the card. It is stacked, though. Anytime they debut on a new network, they try to put on a lot of exciting fights, and I think this main card is going to be a really good one. So first fight of the night, we got Jacob Kilburn and Austin Lingo. This is an interesting fight. Austin Lingo in his first fight against Yusuf Zalal, his main issue was cardio. By early on in the second round, you could see that he had lost a lot of confidence. He was starting to gas out, and Yusuf Zalal was able to get it done. So, in this fight, it's hard for me to trust him. Jacob Kilburn, same type of thing. Wasn't cardio, but he was dominated by Bobby Moffitt in his first fight. There was about 5 or 6 attempts at arm triangles in the first round. A couple of them were really tight, so he does have a lot of heart. He was able to work his way out of that. But by the second round, Moffitt was able to cinch it up and get the tap. So, this is one of those fights I'm not comfortable on either side, to be honest. But I'll go with the dog. I think Austin Lingo does have a lot of power in his hands. But, same with Kilburn. He throws with a lot of power. He's a little bit more wild, where Lingo's a bit more technical. But I'll go with the dog in this one. Definitely not interested in a bet. I could see it going either way. So I'll go with Kilburn by decision. Next up, we got Sarah Moras and Vanessa Melo. So Sarah Moras has been in the UFC for a while now. She's got some good experience in there. Vanessa Melo, I'd say her best opponent was Irene Aldana. So she's been in there with a high-level competition as well. For Melo, I'd say she's more of a counter striker. She'll wait for her opponent to throw and look to land a shot. Whereas Sarah Moras, she is pretty aggressive. So just to get to the point in this one, I'm going to go with Sarah Moras. I think she's going to have a bit more volume. I do think this one will go to the decision. So I'm going to go with Moras, like I said, by decision in that one. Then we got David Zawada and Ramazan Emeev. David Zawada has looked pretty good in a few of his performances. A lot of them have been short notice, or at least a couple of them were short notice fights. And even in those, he looked good early. So if he does have his cardio in check, this could be a really close fight. And the main reason for going with him is, even though I do agree with him being a slight dog, definitely not plus 200, and on some sites more than that. So I just think the line's off in this fight. I'm going to go with David Zawada. I'm going to say he gets it done by decision. But Emeev is a tough guy. Like I said, I do think he should be the slight favorite, but just not where the line's at now. So I'm going to take advantage of that. I am going to pick David Zawada. Next, we got Justin Tafa and Carlos Felipe. So Justin Tafa picked up a win over Juan Adams in his last fight, stopped him early in the first round with some big punches. Previous to that, he was knocked out, though, early on in the first. Carlos Felipe, I was actually surprised that he got a win in his last fight over Yorgan De Castro. I had picked De Castro to win that fight. He was the faster fighter. He has some heavy leg kicks, and I thought that he'd be able to get it done. But Felipe puts the pressure on. He's not afraid to get in his opponent's face. And De Castro ended up gassing out. So big win there for Carlos Felipe. And I am going to be picking him to win this fight. I think it could be a bit of a slugfest. I think both of these guys are going to come in looking to land a big shot. And I am actually looking forward to it. But I'm going to go with Carlos Felipe to get it done. I'll say by late stoppage, second or third round. Next up, we got Phil Hawes and Nasruddin Imavov. So Phil Hawes has looked good in a couple of his fights. I think he's got knockouts in his last 5 straight fights. So I think one of them was a doctor stoppage. But outside of that, he's put away all of his opponents. So he has looked really impressive. Imavov in his last fight, he got the job done by decision over Jordan Williams in a really good fight. So, previous to that, I do think they were, majority of the last few were finishes. Yeah, so 4 out of his last 5, he's got it done inside the distance. I don't necessarily agree with the line. Phil Hawes is a bit smaller than him, and I do think he'll be looking to throw bombs, and once he, starts to gas out a bit, as I've said in the past, a lot of times when these guys that look for those big power shots, once the power comes off their punches, it can be a tough night. So I am actually going to go with the dog here. I think this might go to a decision, or I could even see Imavov, catching a submission. The only thing that kind of throws me off is that Imavov was tagged early on against Jordan Williams in the first round, and it did look like he got rocked. If Phil Hawes connects with one of his big shots early, it could be an early night, but I'm going to go with Imavov in this one by late submission or decision. Then we got Punheli Soriano and Duško Todorovic. So we're getting into the main card here. I do think this card was put together for fireworks. They're debuting on ABC. A lot of times UFC will put together these type of cards when they're debuting. I think this is going to be a really good one. So Punheli Soriano got a big knockout in his last fight. Put away Oscar Pichota in the first round. Previous to that was his fight on the Contender Series against Pickett. That one went to a decision. He does start to gas out late, but, he's a really dangerous fighter. A little bit wild, but, I think he's going to be a threat as his career goes on and he gets some experience. Duško Todorovic, he's a bit more technical. In his last fight, a lot of people don't really rate Daquan Townsend, and I can see why to a certain level, but he is a guy who comes to fight. He's always, trying to get the win. He does have a bit of power, and he has a lot of experience. So it's not an easy win by any means, and he got it done. I think it was second round ground and pound. He has some other good names on his record. He beat Mikel Pereira outside of the UFC. So he is a tough guy. This is a tough one to call. I'm going to go with Todorovic by decision, but I don't write off Soriano's power. Then we got Joaquin Buckley and Alessio Di Chirico. So this one's another tough one. Joaquin Buckley has looked really good. I mean, knockout of the year against Impa Kasanganay. Came back and got another finish over Jordan Wright. So he has looked really good. UFC's getting behind him as well. I do think that they're looking at him for the win in this one, but Di Chirico's a tough guy as well. He's on a 3-fight losing skid, but, Zach Cummings, I do think he was winning that fight until he got hit with that head kick and dropped. So same with Makhmud Muradov, a really tough guy. It was a close one in that fight as well. And it was all decisions. Kevin Holland before that. So he is really tough. He has good cardio. I think that people are underestimating him. He has a size advantage as well. So, this is another one where it's tough to call. I'll go with Joaquin Buckley, but, I'm not confident in that pick. I think that, again, it's going to be a tough fight. I expect this one to be a really good one. I'll say Buckley by TKO in the first round again, but I do think a lot more highly of Di Chirico than the last couple opponents that he's knocked out early, so expect a good fight there. Then we got Santiago Ponzinibbio and Li Jingliang. So I do think Ponzinibbio does have a bit of an advantage here if he looks like he did previous to this long break. I mean, he's been out for a long time, dealing with a lot of major health issues. So if he's recovered fully, if he's, been training for a while now, I hope it hasn't been just like, a 2-month training camp and then coming straight back, because Li Jingliang is a tough guy. He's coming off a loss. He's going to be hungry for a win in this one. But like I said, if Ponzinibbio is where he was at before he left for that, extended layoff, I think it would be, a pretty clear win for him. So I am more comfortable picking him, but again, Li Jingliang's tough, and this is going to be another really good fight. So I'll say Ponzinibbio by decision, but I'm looking forward to that one as well. Then we got the co-main event, Carlos Condit and Matt Brown. So this is another fight I'm looking forward to. Both of these guys have been around forever, veterans in the sport. I think that Carlos Condit, he did look a lot better in his last fight against Court McGee than he had his previous. I think 5 fights straight he had lost, so he was on a big losing skid. I think it had taken a lot out of him. A lot of his confidence had, been drained in those fights, but he did look a lot better against McGee, like I said. And Matt Brown, he still brings a fight, even in his last fight against Beza. He actually clipped him a couple times in that fight. But he did lose early in the second. But again, Matt's a really tough guy. He's going to keep coming forward until you put him away. And I'm a fan of both of these guys. I'm going to pick Carlos Condit just because I think he is a little bit technically better than Matt. I mean, overall, a better fighter. But, I never write off Matt Brown. But again, I'm going to go with Carlos Condit. I'm going to say he gets it done by decision in that one. Next up, we got the main event, Max Holloway and Calvin Kattar. So this is a really good fight, a really good matchup. A lot of people think Max Holloway won his last fight and should still be the champ. And if Calvin Kattar was able to pick up a win here, I definitely think he's in line for a title shot. I think this will play out majority on the feet. And if Max Holloway comes with that volume that he did, specifically in both the Aldo fights and the Anthony Pettis fight, stays in Kattar's face, I do think that he has the potential to pick up a decision or even a late stoppage. A lot of people underestimating him in this fight. Kattar does have really good boxing, some decent power in his hands as well. He's always dangerous, and he has that chance to get a big shot early on in the fight. But like I said, as the fight progresses, Max's volume, his cardio, and he always comes in shape. So as long as he's in the shape that he's been in for these previous fights where he was able to use that pressure and volume, I think he can do that here to pick up a win, either by decision or late stoppage. So I am going to go with Max Holloway here. I'm going to say he gets it done by decision. And now I'm going to pull up the bets. So I've laid them out a little bit different this week. I did give, so this first page is, more of the confident bets. And I gave some different options on the second page. So on the second page is basically a mix and match, same confidence level in all of those. So the over-unders could be used to bump up any of the lines that you don't like, including the Carlos Condit bet. If you don't want to go straight with that, you could use one of these over-unders to bump it up. And if you didn't want to pair up 2 fighters that I gave on the first page, you could do the same. I did pair them up here, but like I said, it's all interchangeable, roughly the same confidence in all of those. And on the third page, I put the underdog. Normally I'd put the dog in with the other 2 bets, but I was looking into that fight a little bit later, so I added it. So that's going to be the bets for this week. Let me know who you guys have. Hit the like button for me if you've made it this far in the video. It helps get the video out there. I did put this out a little bit late. But as long as the guys that are here every week get to see it, that's the main concern. So anybody new, though, I do appreciate it. Let me know who you guys have. Like I said, I always want to hear who you guys have for your bets. Even if you disagree, if you tell me why, I respect it. I'll see you guys for the Wednesday card. Good luck. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.